Nowhere near what it was at the start of the week, but for some reason it has been very warm in the playing area.
Here we go. Important first lag. I mean, who gets control of the first break? Wow, that's such an equal lag. Look at the balls go, and it will be ALCAIDE sticking almost. Yeah. Very classic one ball in the side. Now that 2-9 may have somehow or other dressed up for a twistable combination as we look at the break repeat. One ball in the side and then always track the blue two. Had a better look at it for the majority of that 2-ball rolling, and then in the very end. Okay, so we'll most likely play safe. Could bank the 2. No, I don't think he can hit the ball full enough. And Phil, it took the production team about 2 days for us to be reunited. What happened there? You know, it's like they couldn't handle the combination of us two.
Yeah, like two naughty schoolboys kept apart.
Well, we're very much at the back of the class here. We're way up in the auditorium with a beautiful view of what was in the beginning an arena with 24 tables. And now we're down to a few practice tables and 4 tables in the main arena. Now this is a pretty tough ask here. Looking ahead, look at the 4-7. That is a combination, but still needs to be dealt with. So not everything in the out in the open. So maybe not a battle for 2-ball control will give you the rack. Attempted bank.
One theme running through this tournament for Jayson Shaw. He's made stumbling starts. He's come good when it needed, but he has made slow starts.
No, you're absolutely right. I think we might be seeing a safety here. No attempt at the plant combination, as is called in American pool. It's pretty good. Opened up the 4-7. Now Jayson can slice the 2 on the right side. Make the 2 hit the, was it 4 or 7 ball? Make the 2-ball stop, 7-ball stop right there. And then that would enable him to drive the cue ball back to this side of the table. Although he's looking at something a little bit more elaborate. Pointing his cue at the 9-ball. Can he bank the 2 onto the 9? Or cue ball, a lot of left spin. Look at this. Yeah, so he was attempting to kick and stick. That worked. And he thought, well, maybe as a bonus, that 2-ball's going that direction anyway. So he had a little look at a wishful thinking 2-9 combo.
The last quarter-final to get underway. They've just lagged Oy and Shevchik. And it's the circuit's court jester who breaks off. Now, I can tell you that Abby has caught up with our latest winner, Joshua Filler.
Yeah, Joshua Filler through to yet another semi-final here at the UK Open. How would you rate that performance out of 10, though?
Out of 10, playing-wise, I mean, it was like at least an 8. I felt super confident, but just the break let me down. But other than that, it's all about staying in the moment, being mentally there when it needs to be. So I was there every single time he made a mistake. So that was the main thing about the match.
Yeah, you mentioned being there mentally, and I'm sure you had to show quite a bit of strength because there were a few occasions I saw you were shaking your head with a few safety shots and with the break. So it was really important to stay switched on mentally, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you get the opportunity, you need to be there, especially under the shot clock. You don't have any time to mess around. So yeah, I'm just glad to get over the match because towards the end his break was working better. He got the shots after, and then also he made some amazing outs to stay in the match. hats off to him how he fought back. But other than that, I'm just happy to maintain the focus towards the end and run out the racks.
And we don't know who you're going to be playing yet, but it's going to be interesting either way because it's either Jason Shaw or David ALCAIDE. You've been on Mosconi Cup teams with them. They're going to pose very different challenges, but very big challenges, aren't they?
Of course. I mean, any player who's in the semis has to play good, obviously. So playing one of the Mosconi mates is going to be fun, but on the other hand, when I'm at the table or when we meet at the table, it's all about serious business. So just focusing on myself. It doesn't matter for me who I'm playing. I just want to play as good as possible, break as well as good as possible, and then see how it goes.
Yeah, when you're playing as well as you are at the moment, the opponent really doesn't matter. Very best of luck in the semis.
Thank you.
You know, earlier today, Carl Boyes showed me a YouTube video of Joshua Filler playing in a Euro Tour event when he was 12. And he beat Dimitri Jungo, who's a fine player. And you could see then he was something very, very special. All of the mannerisms were already in place. And he was knocking in balls that sometimes defied belief. And nothing changes.
Yeah, and I have to say, from watching his previous matches, I think over the winter time, I think actually Joshua Filler has improved, which is hard to say as we see ALCAIDE miss a pretty testing two-ball in the side, but so until now has got away with it. Of course, that remains to be seen. Jason will have something to say about this. But yeah, nice interview by Joshua. Yeah, pretty fair assessment if he says 8 out of 10 at least. Yesterday, during an interview after his match, he said he played great, just like the old Roger Federer sometimes used to say when he put on an amazing display. And it's nice if you're able to talk about your own level of play as great. You know, it's you could say it's quite arrogant in a way, but it's well-placed arrogance.
Yeah, I like realistic arrogance when someone has played well and they say, yeah, I did, that's fine. It's when they say they played well when they didn't.
Yeah, so I think for this match, as we have seen quite a bit of moving, as we call it in American pool, you know, playing the safeties, kicking, trying to get control of that lowest number ball on the table. Now, if it solely comes down to that, or very often, David ALCAIDE is a true master of, I mean, they both are really, but let's say, I would say favorite in the putting prowess would be Jason Shaw.
Before this match gets really underway, before a rack is on the board, let me tell you, Rico, David ALCAIDE in this event has won 58 racks. He's lost 9.
That's crazy. Is that from the 256 player stage?
In every match he's played.
That's crazy.
He started off with 3 whitewashes out of his first 4 matches, 2 9-0s and a 10-0.
I mean, and you know, if you're playing a tournament, sometimes when you look at like those results of racks played, racks won, racks lost, if you win 2 out of 3, then you're already doing very well. Now that stat is just truly incredible.
He lost 2 racks against Ivica Putnik, 3 against Lucas Fracasso Werner, and 4 this afternoon against Elliot Sanderson.
That's incredible. And that was a tester, you know. Would have loved to have had an easier opportunity after playing that nice safety behind the pink 4, but Jason jumped and, well, didn't quite get away with it, as we can see. Now ALCAIDE probably wants to land straight in on this 5 ball. He can handle various angles because would like to get his cue ball back down this side of the table, all the way down to the short bottom rail for a position on the 6-8. Yeah, we'll travel his cue ball either forward 2 rails out of the left top corner. Now he's going to draw it back, so bottom left spin. Very nice. Yeah, and I was talking to Johan about it. Johan Reising, the recently reappointed Captain America. He's in the house with his lovely wife, Crystal. And I was, as we were watching Niels's match, and I was asking Johan, and I'm going to ask you, Phil, who are the best 50-plus years young players in the world, you think?
Well, I think for a while, not now, but for a while it was Efren Reyes, because he still played very well into his 50s.
True. And I guess at the moment, actually, Bustamante, I think, is a higher level player than Reyes. But then we're already moving into, I think, Bustamante's 60 by now, right? Almost.
Yeah, I'm dodging this a little. In the snooker world, we've got 3 50-year-olds doing well: O'Sullivan, Higgins and Williams.
David breaking for the second time. Last time made the 1 ball in the left side. Will attempt to do the same. Succeeds. And now where does the 2 ball go to? So the 2 balls racked on either wing, as we call it, so left or right side of the diamond rack, or at the bottom, as you can see here on the left wing this time. Now with so many balls rolling around, it very often gets kicked all over the place, and you never really know where it's going to go. So the players try to get the cue ball back to center table, so they have the highest probability to get a potential shot, whether it be a safety, which is going to come up here, because you can't attack this 2 ball.
You got me thinking about those 50-plus players.
Well, Niels is soon to be 50, so hence I was thinking about it. I turned 50 this year, but I'm not going to feature in that list.
I think Niels will, though, when that birthday arrives.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then I was thinking, well, who else? Really, who else is really as competitively competent as Niels still is? I mean, Ralph, to be honest, you know, he travels all over the world, but is not really a threatening even quarter-finalists anymore or further, right? But yeah, who else? Audience at home, think along. So here, difficult safety, really. It's going to be a soft shot, meaning you need a lot of cue ball control, and that won't do the trick.
One of the great cue sports performances by a veteran was Fred Davis, the younger brother of Joe Davis, the snooker player who got to the semi-finals at the Crucible in 1978 when he was 64. And he almost got to the final, just lost out to Perry Mans, who was then subsequently beaten by Ray Reardon.
That is crazy, 64. But yeah, that is the super cool thing about this game and snooker and almost any kind of billiard game. You know, I feel for like football players, right, who have this shelf life of like until, well, these days sometimes 40 years old, but then you kind of have to say goodbye to being able to play at the highest level, right? Whereas in pool snooker, as Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Williams, John Higgins are so beautifully showing us, you can really still be the best when you're past 50, and you can play until you can't really stand up anymore. Yeah, nice bit of moving by Jason. Lovely. Now that is what he would have been visualizing. Hard to always make that come true, but he hit the correct side of the 2 ball, played it at a certain speed that 2 balls, the cue ball and 2 ball would of course collide, but then try to get distance between the 2 and then try to drive 1 or both balls towards balls that can form a wall. So the one thing I would say, Jason hasn't started off, it's not that the eagle eye is not yet flying, but also hasn't necessarily missed any pots, hasn't really missed any opportunities. So no negative actions yet. Ooh, just too short, as we call it. So hit the rail just a little bit too late, came out of the corner, and now a nice chance for Jason.
Yes, an opportunity for all intents and purposes he should grab.
Yeah, something nice to be done from the 3 to the 4, which may turn out to be the main challenge in this rack. As you can see, position for the pink 4 would be a nice window, shows itself in between the 9 and 7 ball, although Jason may actually forego on that and weave his cue ball off the right rail and then come south of the 8 ball to try to play position from where he's bending over the table now. Ooh, a bit loose. Now the reason why that happened he hit the 3 ball a little bit too thin into the pocket, and so his cue ball didn't grab the backspin, which it would have had he hit it clean into the pocket. So more of a challenge than he would have liked.
Just for a split second, he was concerned about the cue ball going behind the green 6 ball. It didn't, but it leaves hampered cueing.
Yeah, and don't touch that 6. Referee kept a sharp eye on that. And that's pretty good. See, but all these little things, you know, now he's arguably playing the hardest shot of the rack, whereas should it kind of be the other way around? Or if you are out of position, you'd like to correct yourself in 2 shots. And Jason went from, well, difficulties increased. He's banking this. Wow, that's, you know, you wouldn't have predicted that when he was shooting the 2 ball. Appreciated by David. Then again, you know, you're letting David to the table, right? So this might be a pretty good containing safety, but you're giving your opponent a chance.
It's a pretty good start for Wojciech Szewczyk on table 2. 2-0 up on Naoki Oi.
Yeah, and here we see that beautiful 2-ball control. So controlling the cue ball as well, the object ball. Or I thought it was going to turn out a little bit better than it did. Can just not make the 6, but can hold the cue ball behind the brown, send 6 back to where he planted it in the first time. Nice.
Is it me, or is Shaw in this tournament being a little more circumspect than normal? I just get that impression. And of course we know he's a fine safety player, but normally his game is built around very robust attack.
Yeah, I guess that can also be caused by positional errors, I guess, having a chance and then kind of, well, because this rack should have been his already, right? So we're kind of, David ALCAIDE is kind of, should be joyful that he's got 2 opportunities back at the table, but here we are, chance for Jason to clear this up at the 2nd time of asking. Jason here with his wife Ara. And they're kind of making their mind up of what they want to, where they want to live in the world, as they told me. And just before this match, came back from a nice Michelin-starred Thai dinner. Just a little bit of completely useless information as Jason cuts this 8-ball in and gets a nice 9-ball to start himself off in this campaign.
Well, the choice of restaurant was appropriate because
Orange ferruled Jason Shaw, trying to make the 1-ball in the same left side. Well, that worked. 2-ball, however, still spinning, but won't be moving from this current position, which gives Jason not much to attack at all. And the 3-4 cuddled up nicely. So, as things stand, the battle for control of the 2 may not be the be-all and end-all of this rack, which, when you're playing a push-out, is not a bad thing, because they say if you have to push out, since you have to offer your opponent something to maybe give back or take, that they say he or she who pushes out loses the majority of the games, and Jason will get this back because he never thought this 6-ball, that was never by design to make the 6 cover the 2. So nothing for ALCAIDE to shout about. So he's giving this back to Jason. And now actually, even hitting this kick, I mean, he may make it, but he may also open the 3-5 cluster. And that can be a good thing, or it can be, well, it was supposed to be a good thing because he made the 2, but the cue ball stuck to the 5 and never moved.
Yeah, I think he deserved more than that. Of course, it doesn't work that way.
No, yeah, it's not how the game keeps score. There's no score keeping. right? I always think the balls are round. If he hits them at that velocity, of course he hit a beautiful 2-ball, so that was exactly what he hoped for. But there are no promises when you're running into other balls. So Jason looking at the kick, of course, trying to make the 3 or drive the cue ball behind the pink-black. Yeah, so wanted to hit the 3-ball a little bit lower than he did. And this, of course, not the result he would have wanted. ALCAIDE, though, faced with a deep screw back because he's pretty straight on this 3-ball and needs to play the pink in the same pocket. So deep screw back off the right long rail where he's bridging from, and zipping the cue ball back to center. And ALCAIDE kind of just so often, right, floats through tournaments without much fanfare, but then you see him all of a sudden in the quarterfinal. And of course, if you're in the quarterfinal and any of these players has won at least 4 or 5 matches when it gets to this stage, so then anybody's got a chance to win this tournament.
Yeah, both of these two looking to win their 7th match of the event. Wojciech Szewczyk now 3-0 up on Naoki Oi.
And surprising to me, Phil, as I dubbed it the beginning of the week, could we see a potential Filipino invasion 2.0? Well, we saw a Filipino invasion because there were about 20 of them. And as we know, the Filipinos such a strong contingent of players, but lo and behold, in the last 16, no Filipinos.
Yeah, 7 of them in the last 64, none in the last 16.
Wow.
That challenge fizzled out.
Yeah. Now, we have to say Johan Chua wasn't here, Carlo Biado wasn't here. They being, I guess, the most successful Filipinos of the last few years. But still, everybody knows if there's a Filipino flag behind your name, then a lot of people think, oh, this guy must have skills, even though if I've never seen him before.
The Philippines Open champion still involved, though. David ALCAIDE, lovely bank on the 6th ball. He produced one of the most famous banks ever in 9-ball pool to win his 2nd World Masters title in 2019. Length of the table to overcome Alexander Kazakis 9-8.
Yeah, you can look that up on YouTube. That was a tense moment, right? I remember watching that match. Was that in Gibraltar, near his hometown, right?
Was indeed. Undemonstrative, David ALCAIDE. Not flash, but just very efficient. Always hard to beat.
Ooh, oh! Trying to replicate that same break. Ooh, missed the 1-ball, and that tells us he hit the 1-ball too thin. And you can see that by the cue ball going so low down the table. We'll see that in the replay. Typically, we want to draw the cue ball onto the 2nd diamond, the middle diamond, and he went lower, as you can see. And that means the 1-ball doesn't come as far up the table and misses the side pocket. But you never know where things are going to end up. So Jason with a push-out option. First shot after the break, either player, if you don't like your situation, and Jason definitely not in love being snookered on the 1-ball, can roll the cue ball to wherever you like on the table. You can even touch the ball, even make that 6 if he wanted to. And then you give ALCAIDE the option, or the incoming player, the option to take or leave what you offer. Now, he's not going to get this back, I can tell you that. Just as I have told you that, he'll probably give it back. Now, Jason very smartly turned the 6-8 into a cluster to solve later on, so that the battle for this 1-ball is not the all-out, is not going to decide the all-out winner of this rack. Still the challenging matter of the 6-8 to deal with. Now, didn't give it back, but didn't do much good with it either.
Naoki Oi on the board on table 2, reducing Wojciech Szewczyk's lead to 3-1.
I mean, what do you think will happen if Naoki Oi wins this or any major World 9-Ball Tour tournament? I mean, never mind the interview, the reaction straight after the win. I would love to be witness to that. Such a popular player and such a good player, right? So consistently really features in the last 16 quarterfinals, but then it does go to show, as you alluded to earlier, that he kind of moves on shots too often, right? And that's, wow, power draw by Jason. He's already taken care of that 6-8 cluster, remember? Now this needs something a little bit touchy, because position for the red 3 kind of needs to be center table, but the pink is in the way of it coming out of the corner, coming out of the top right corner if he makes the 2 top left from where we're currently not looking. Missed the 2, yeah. And that was because he had a cue ball position challenge. Beautiful cue ball route. I mean, as you can see, he's snookered by about 5 balls. So, but being so close behind the 7 makes it even more difficult. Wow, that's a nice shot by Jason, though. Because coming at such an angle into the rail you're kicking out of with these slippery cloths, it's really hard to determine your cue ball. If you hit it really soft or really hard, it really changes the cue ball reaction off the rail. But that was a nice spun shot by Jason. Safety and incoming. I think he might be hidden behind the 7 again pretty soon. That's an exact repeat of his cue ball position. Will still most likely hit this. You may find that hard to believe, but because the 2 balls in that corner there, if he misses it on the way down, he might hit it on the way back up. So Jason might actually come off of 3 rails. So side rail, top short rail, right rail, 2 ball as such. Now this is pretty good, because as they call it in America, he's tree-topped over the 5 ball, meaning David needs to elevate his cue, and that increases this straight 2 ball by about 30–40%.
Awkward shot, awkward table.
Yeah, not even going for the attack. Looking ahead, oh, I was just going to talk about the 4-9 cluster. Well, that's past tense. So control of the 2 will give either Jason a chance to tie the match or David a chance to increase his lead to 2 racks. And as I said at the beginning of this game, if it's going to be all-out moving or a lot of moving in this game, I would favor David, to be honest, even though I really respect and value Jason's kicking safety game. Yeah, Jason had to hurry up with that one. And that's going to leave only the right side of this 2 ball, I think.
Naoki Oi pulls another one back against Wojciech Szewczyk. The Pole's lead is reduced to 3-2.
So it did have all of the potting angle available, just missed it. Jason can't really cut this 2 ball into the side or into the corner. I mean, could theoretically cut it into the top right corner, but that would be such a thin slice. So he's trying to get his cue ball behind the 7, I think. 7, 9, or any of these balls here. Anything will do. Oh, don't roll further. I think he would have expected to clash with the ball and make it stop sooner, but this will do. Now that 5 ball, he can jump the cue ball over it, but the cue ball needs so much speed to clear that 5 ball that David might be afraid that his cue ball or 2 ball might jump off the table. So he's not going to be doing that. He's going to be kicking at this. Now the players, many good players, or almost all players, if you play the game correctly, you're not just trying to hit the ball. I mean, that's first priority. But then you're also trying to maybe snooker your opponent back. So David trying to hit the right side, top right side of this 2 ball, send it back to bottom left. As such, ooh, that's too full of a hit. See, had he hit the 2 ball a little bit more on the right, the cue ball would have spun behind the 5, 3, 4 cluster. As things stand, chance for Jason, and he worked for this, played a good safety. And here we go. Let's see what Jason can come up with. That is not the ideal angle, I can tell you. Might want to stun his cue ball into the pink and drive it a little bit towards the pocket. Okay, that's nice. That needed some close quarter control.
So far, and it's still very early days, nothing has come easy for either player. No fluency.
Yeah, Jason's so good at these little shots where he was close to the 4 ball, then needs to get a lot of spin out of his cue ball. Jason first started off playing English pool, you know, the small pub tables with reds, yellows, black ball last. It's basically 8 ball on a very small snooker table. So small pockets, minimal maneuverability. And Jason was very good at that first before he moved to American pool. Uh-oh. Kind of in between. And now, if he wants to make the 8 ball bottom left, he won't really be able, well, he could hold his cue ball. Because he's only putting like 20% of the cue ball speed into the 8 ball, because he's hitting it very thin, and the 8 ball needs a certain amount of distance to travel to the pocket, his cue ball might need to travel 4 rails, or only 2. Nice shot.
Yeah, but there is a little element of pressure on this one. Even the great Jason Shaw, eagle eye, could possibly miss it. I don't think he will, but you never quite know. Certainly not a gimme. Well,
oh. Yeah, and that's a pretty natural scratch because cue ball always comes off the right rail and then they want it to travel back up the table. And it can scratch off of 1 or 2 zigzag rails like so. And this is a pretty common occurrence that they're, of course, trying to avoid. Made the 1 and cue ball in the same pocket. And there goes your chance to do something which they would definitely, preferably do, is breaking and running out.
just as Shaw did that on the other table, Naoki Oi potted a good ball, flicked off the green 6, and he also scratched. So that's why Shevchik is poised for 4-2. It is such a hefty penalty when you scratch in 9-ball. Putting the ball anywhere on the table opens up so many doors.
Yeah, and so as today we started with the superbly skilled Sweet 16 players remaining, and we went through that full round. So played 8 matches, ended up with the quarterfinalists, and that's which we're playing the last 2 matches now. And I hope you're enjoying this little treat. But then, Phil, tomorrow, our final Fantastic Four, when will they be crossing cues?
12 noon, and then immediately the first semi-final is over. The second will begin, and the final which is a race to 13, by the way. That launches at 7 o'clock local time.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I mean, it's already good. This is good. You can watch both tables, of course, on WNTTV.com. And then tomorrow, our climax of the 5th edition of the UK Open Pool Championships.
Yeah, by the way, the matches we're seeing right now are the last races to 10 in the event, because in the semi-finals tomorrow, the distance increases to 11.
Nice shot by David on the 7 ball. Do have to correct myself on that website address I gave you. It is WNTTV.tv. I'll get it at some point.
Do you want another go, Rico?
No, I think I should forego on that other go.
Well, Jason Shaw has done a lot in this match. The one thing he hasn't done is lead. And that remains the same, because for the third time, David...
Yeah, that event, that crowd, that energy, that really revs him up. And yeah, like you said, it really inspires him to very high levels. And those matches are all races to 5, remember, just short races where every little ball just has that little bit much more meaning to the end result of the match. But yeah, Jason really talking the talk, but also walking the walk. And David has a chance at this 2-ball. You'd think easy, but from this angle into the side, those side pockets are hardly visible. So David actually looking at the far right corner pocket. Oh, now he's back to looking at the side, but needs to screw his cue ball back, and hitting that 2-ball too hard into the side pocket might refuse it. That's delicate and works out just fine.
Yeah, talking about the Mosconi Cup, he's been involved in 7 of them, David ALCAIDE. Never been on a losing team. He's been involved in the last 5 European success stories. He was 22nd on the European Mosconi Cup standings before this event, but of course now will make very significant strides.
Yeah, so dollars make points, and points make up the ranking. So this match, basically a $3,000 match difference for the winner and the loser. And then the next match, the semi-final, you'll both be on 10,000, but the winner will go to 18,000 minimum. And then the final match is basically a race to 13 for a $22,000 difference.
What's been really good today, the crowds have been packed in from the very beginning.
Yeah, even on this, well, feels like a summer day. It is still spring, remember, here in the UK. But yeah, beautiful to see that the people come in rather than going to the beach or to the pool. They just come here and watch some pool.
El Matador keeping a raging bull of a pool player at bay at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, and David's, I mean, his longevity is really admirable, really, because he was playing European Championships and World Championships when I was still contesting those, and that was like, well, at least 15 years ago. So we're kind of the same generation. He's 3 years younger than I am, but he's still going so strong.
Yeah, playing from a very early age, and it became obvious quickly he was going to be something special. He won the Spanish 8-ball championship when he was 14.
And he wants to have the cue ball clean. Not ideal. I mean, you'd rather have a less angle on a winning 9-ball than this one, but this should be rolled in pretty smoothly to take a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, for the first time there is... Yes, of course he's missed.
Ooh, look at that. Missed the 1-ball, but made 2 balls in the bottom right corner pocket. Now, I think one of them was the 2-ball, which is racked on the corner. That can sometimes go in, but it will be aided by another ball. See, it doesn't go in directly, gets kicked in. And then the 8-ball followed as well. At the most recent Great British 9-ball tour, stop number 2, one guy was playing on the TV table. Well, one kid really, Seth Wood, and he made 6 balls off the break. That was incredible. It almost seemed like a perfect hit, the way the 1 ball went into the side and everything just collided, and had position on the lowest numbered ball, and Julie ran out.
I know in the past Alex Pagulayan has done that.
And then he didn't run out, right? I think that was...
That's the story, yeah.
And to be honest, not to try to trump you, but a former adversary of mine from the Netherlands called Jesse Tehu, who was actually a very decent snooker player as well. I think he has a YouTube channel. He once in Eindhoven at a national tournament made 7 balls on the break and had to push out.
No pushing out here, apart from maybe pushing out into a 5-2 lead.
Yeah, and it's, as I said before, if it was like purely potting of difficult shots or elevated pots with a lot of cue ball spin, then I would favor Jason, you know, single ball potting. But, you know, how consistent is David? I mean, and he doesn't have to make that many fancy shots because his cue ball is so nicely controlled. You know, very rarely over hits a ball, very rarely under hits a ball. Of course, everybody misses, right? This is a bit of a tester, though, to keep control of this rack. And that will just slide in. Yeah, he's such a good field player. Like, he really, like that one. I mean, he hit it along the rail. He would have rather hit it cleaner, but that was, you know, he just plays it at the right speed. Had he hit it a lot harder, that might not have dropped. So really knows kind of what the table allows and kind of plays around with that a little bit. And these 2 balls to get him halfway into the semi-final.
Last year, Jason Shaw had such high hopes. He was beaten in the quarterfinals by a Spaniard. 12 months on, will history repeat itself?
Viewers, you didn't see that. Just Phil just raised his arms aloft. I mean, he's so awake to the task. Oh, the same scratch as Jason had only 5 minutes ago. Albeit a ball in hand start as we look back on the scratch. Oh, that cue ball really curved into the side pocket off that first rail. Ball in hand start, but there's a little matter of a 3-ball that doesn't really have a pocket to travel into. Now, could position the cue ball behind the 3 to go for the 3-8 combo. Could try to career the cue ball off this 2 into the black or into the red, but then I mean, especially in this case, you really don't know what you're going to get. So Jason just letting his tactical cogs turn and see what he can come up with. Yeah, he almost has to play position for the 3-8.
It would be overstepping the mark to say the balls are conspiring against Jason Shaw, but they just are not quite falling to allow him to have full freedom.
And there you have it, nicely positioned though, straight behind, almost straight behind the line that he's supposed to hit the 3-ball into. 3 ball should remain, is going to bump into the rail, should remain pretty close, especially at the slow speed he's going to play it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, he had to play it slow. But that kind of hitting it so slow, the 8 ball into the rail, as we see the replay, if you hit it so slow, then kind of the rail makes the 8 ball come off the rail a little bit more. Had he hit it a little bit harder, that 8 ball slides a bit more. So the rail gripped the 8 ball and the angle of outward direction increased a little bit. That was the time, really, wasn't it, Phil? That was the time for Jason to pick things back up. Ball in hand to start. So would like to drive his cue ball with a pure topspin hit, so increase the forward rolling motion that the cue ball has naturally with a very high tip position, like 12 o'clock, almost like if you ever played tennis before, to increase the forward motion. Drive your cue ball to the center of table. Could have done a little bit, could have done with a revolution more. Yeah, nicely solved. So kind of out of line on that 5 ball, but then correcting himself within 1 shot. Essentially, still has a little bit of a off-angle pot, or meaning he could roll this in and should be able to avoid hitting the 9 ball on the way down, but he's hitting it with a downward tip position, so stun draw.
Wojciech Szewczyk has just gone 6-2 up on Naoki Oi, and 6-2 looms in the main arena. Well, well, well. Now, he didn't just miss the 7 there. He missed the jaws. That was a total and utter misjudgment.
That was complete focus fog. Wow. And what a let-off for Jason. I mean, going 6-2, or now potentially only 5-3 down, which is what he was trying with that ball in hand anyway. So essentially, if he gets away with this, you know, he should almost try to clear that 3-8 combo that he missed, and just kind of pretend he was running out this rack from the get-go.
A certain mistake. Understand his frustrations. Things are not going well.
So Jason would love to have a little bit of a, you know, a light rack break, get a shot on the 2, as he currently does. 3 in a nice position. So yeah, just to look at the 1 ball straight into the side, then look at the cue ball to 2 ball relation. That was always looking pretty good. And this may be a very short rack. No tactics in this rack, I believe. And remember, David, only about 5 minutes ago, had a chance to, well, a chance. I mean, had a gilt edge chance, is that what they call it? To go 6-2 up.
It is indeed. Yeah, when you miss a ball like that, it's not just a loss of rack, it's also a loss of confidence. He badly missed it. Didn't even threaten the pocket.
Yeah, and it's so hard. I mean, you shouldn't beat yourself up, but it's so hard not to beat yourself up, right? I mean, that is unforgivable. May yet be forgiven, because it's not necessarily leaving David. I mean, theoretically, he could cut this in. Hey, look at that. Well, just a little bit too late on the replay, but basically a straight in 5. Well, we all saw it.
One of the world's premier potters. Who could have foreseen that?
Yeah, could hit. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know what he's going to attempt. Might actually be trying to cut this in and then try to get the cue ball behind the green 7 on the other side of the table. Yeah, yes, yes, that works. See, had he missed, he probably would have left him snookered anyway. So a chance to make amends for that earlier chance he so unexpectedly missed. Now still a chance to get himself to 6. And Jason, of course, with a bit of an extra scar tissue from this match, missing that straight in 5 ball.
The 7 looked unmissable, but any pot into these brutal side pockets has to be treated with respect. This 9 ball surely will find the target. And when he does, ALCAIDE will be doubling up on Eagle Eye. Indeed, 6-3.
Go back to David ALCAIDE. Trying to give himself a bit of a low energy rack. Didn't make the 1 ball, did make the 2 ball. That somehow will get kicked in by some other ball. Yeah, that was helpful. And we'll have a shot on the 1 ball in the side, 3 ball top side of the table. Now this angle that you might think this 1 ball is a gimme, but I can tell you it's not.
Let's just recalibrate these numbers. So, incorporating the racks he's played thus far in this match, in the tournament overall he's won 64 racks for the loss of 12.
That is crazy. That's out of 7 racks to win like 6. That's, or out of 6 racks to win 5. That is incredible. Yeah. Yeah, it was never easy, and gets away with this one nicely. But yeah, this all, you know, maybe in second instance is kind of self-inflicted, right? Because had Jason made that straight in 5, then who knows? It could have been him running out his 2nd rack by now, and could have seen himself back to 5-4 or 5-all pretty soon. As things stand, hit it pretty well with that swerve, but this leaves ALCAIDE. Okay, the 1 ball doesn't bank past the pink 4, so. You may show him something. And so it is. So Jason can just slice this left side of the 9, bring his cue ball back up table for... but that's not good enough, you know, because David is almost certainly going to kick off the bottom rail, somewhere just before the WNT logo, hit the cue ball with backspin, kick the 1 ball full in the face, send the 1 ball up table, and then tried to hold his cue ball behind the pink 4. If not, 5, 7, 9 might come to his rescue. I mean, he would have to hit this one pretty bad not to get a good result. Ooh, hit it pretty good, but will at least leave a fairly doable jump shot.
Prospects for Naoki Oi improving slightly. He's just won rack 10. Shevchik 7-3 in front.
You know, in a way, I wish that the crowd would get into this a little bit more to make, you know, to really turn Jason into really like the last British hopeful, right? And that could really spur him on. And that's kind of give him that Mosconi Cup atmosphere, but in a British kind of way. I mean, all that heat makes some of them maybe a little bit more subdued than they would be normally.
Yeah, me included. We've got a fan next to the commentary box this evening.
Hey, exactly, it's the first time, right?
It's been so nice. A very kind producer, Hannah, brought it up for us, and I can't thank her enough.
And that's going to leave the one ball exposed, of course, a lot more than Jason would have liked. And this might be a nice high-speed shot here, because making the one, I think the one goes bottom left anyway, but needs to maneuver his cue ball back up table for the red 3, of course, wants to pass at least the midline of the table. So we might see a little bit of topspin action curling around the 9 ball. Okay. Either not quite sure or not quite focused. Announced that he would like the extension. Because of course this, again, an important juncture, right? 7-3 or 6-4. Give hope or take hope. Nice.
Well, the great tactician there has produced a shore-like pot. Brilliant. And I think he's got a form of angle on the 3 as well. So every aspect of that stroke on the nose.
Yeah, a lot of top left spin here. Increase the angle as it comes off the rails. You can see the cue ball still spinning. And albeit he's kind of on the rail, so that kind of takes away the backspin options or stun options, unless you want to elevate your cue. I'm thinking he can roll this in, and at the speed he rolls it in, maybe if he rolls it in soft, he might make contact with the 7 ball, but just, oh, so here we go, never mind the 7 ball. Elevating makes it more difficult. Yeah, skilled. And a nice classic 9 ball angle, really, like this angle, hitting your cue ball with bottom left spin, drawing it low into the bottom right corner after making the 5, and then coming as close as you can to the 6 ball. Wants to leave it nice and straight to drift down for the 7. Not that straight, maybe, because then you know you're not going to be able to get your cue ball off the rail. Although in this instance, he doesn't really need to, because about a 30-degree angle on the 7 ball will drift his cue ball nicely towards the 8 ball, but that you will see in about 15 seconds or so.
Well, he badly missed a 7 in the 8th rack. What about the 10th? Same pocket, different kind of shot. No issue there. Naoki has won 2 racks in succession to trail 7-4 against Wojciech Szewczyk.
Yeah, I've been talking about it now for, I think I've covered about 3 or 4 of Jason's matches so far. I just think, you know, I know that this ain't no Mosconi Cup, right? But, and I've also talked about it numerous times, you have to inspire yourself. But, you know, Jason just seems a bit subdued. You know, it's almost like the situation doesn't really wake him up like the Mosconi Cup always does. And that's what all to play for, to try to get into, well, either Mosconi Cup team, the US team, or the European team. US Open, of course, carries a lot of prize money in there with points for your ranking. Is it the top 3 that qualify automatically?
It is, yeah. Now again, that rogue ball going in, this time the 7. The 1 didn't find the target, but it's available now. Not making excuses for Jason Shaw. He shouldn't have missed that 5 ball, certainly in the 9th rack. But I think the balance of the fortune has been with his opponent.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can say to that really is that if you lead, then you're hitting the balls just that little bit better. You're breaking, I don't know, just a little bit more good touch or something. And also, if you've spurned opportunities, you kind of have to earn them again. That's what I've seen anyway from playing a lot of matches over the years. Now further down the line in this rack, the 6-8 is a very doable combination actually. Could be a 4-9 on offer, but then he needs a very specific 3-ball position.
Well, he did well with the 1 there because he hit it as thick as he could to pot it, and by hitting it that way, it meant he held on the 2-ball as best he could.
Yeah, should be able to hold. Okay, so here we go. See, the combination is probably so nicely lined up. Nicer lined up anyway than the 6-8 even is. So I think he's going to top spin his cue ball off the bottom rail, come back up table, and leave it as straight as he can. Oh, a little bit of a disappointed head movement there from David. I don't know if he hit that way too slow, or I don't know what happened there.
He dug into the cue ball. The tip position dipped, and yeah, he stunned it.
Yeah. So now 4-ball potable in the left side pocket, and I think he's going to apply a lot of backspin, try to avoid hitting the 9, try to avoid his cue ball spinning towards the 6. Watch this cue ball twirl after impact. Yeah, and this little 10-degree angle he's got on the 5-ball is not really what he hoped for. He wanted to be straight. Okay, he could play position on the left side of the table to make the 6 bottom right, to not even have to deal with that 6-8 combination.
Realises this is the crucial shot, and that's why he's elected to take his 1 allowable 30-second extension per player per rack.
Yeah, the only other thing he could do is stun his cue ball back to center table, not there, and play the 6-9 carom, but that is too difficult. So he's going to draw his cue ball back, try to leave himself a shot on the green signal. Okay, you went for the combo option anyway. And he never really showed us his cards there. Looked at all kinds of options, bar this 6-8. Now the only fairly good thing about being offline on this combo, I believe, the 6-ball after making contact with the 8-ball is going to drift towards the left long rail. And he might be able to hold position on that, being this off angle. See, that worked out nice. Yeah, although David missed that 7-ball right to go 6-2 up, he has shown enough quality and enough consistent quality, more so than Jason anyway. So a deserved lead. Oh, that is incredible.
You're going to say, I'm jumping on a bandwagon here, but as he was over that shot, I just didn't fancy him to pot it.
You should have let us know.
I don't interrupt, Rico, I don't interrupt. But
calls himself a prophet after the occasion.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't have said that if I genuinely hadn't have thought it, but while I don't interrupt, I think Jason Shaw might have interrupted ALCAIDE's flow. Indeed, 7-4. And one of the reasons the PGA of America, the Professional Golfers Association, is headquartered these days in Frisco.
Huh.
Let me quickly just tell you about how Wojciech Szewczyk won the 12th rack against Naoki Oi. Oi had got him banged to rights in a really tough hook. He came off 3 cushions, fluked the 6 and dished.
Okay, so Jason made the 1 on the break. Didn't have an attacking option on the 2, but a lovely defensive option. And being so close to the 7-ball, David would love to be able to come off the right long rail, just north of the side pocket. But that's not possible because he's so close to the 7-ball. So now has to think of either a much more difficult one rail route like this one, or come off of 2 or 3 rails. He's going to come off of 1. I think he's going to hit this medium speed, really, because there are good things that can happen. Either the 2 or the cue ball could drift behind that green-black situation there on the top right of your table. Of course, first things first, hit this 2 ball. And can Jason get a chance to get closer? Okay, hit it pretty well, but left Jason an option. Although pushed the 3 ball even closer into an almost unputtable position. Naturally, cue ball would travel towards the 3. I don't know what he's going to do here. Play position for a bank on the 3. Oh, he was actually, that's what he was trying. Beautiful. Okay, wake yourself up, Jason. This is your time. 7-4 down, but really all to play for. He knows. Clear this rack. Break and make the one, get a shot on the next. Okay, let's just have a look at this one first.
Naoki Oi in this rack, he returned the compliment to Ševčík, potting the 2 ball out of a hook. He's jumping around all over the place. Not on that shot, but on the pressure balls, but they're going in.
Yeah, as we are able to show you both these matches at the same time, because they're actually pretty much in the same situations, right? 7-4, 8-4, kind of identical score lines, really, in match terms. Both players trying to make the comeback. Will they both do it? Will one of them do it? Will none of them do it? At it, the pronunciation of their former names, as Jason is going to be thinking about what to do with this hung blue ball. Can you spell those 2 Thai last names?
I think, but not with any great certainty. Of course, they've just had the big spelling bee in America.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that on TV, really.
And those youngsters are amazing.
All right, this, though, a chance for Jason to create some momentum. And I think with every rack that he wins, or every good shot he'll play, the crowd will get more involved. And that will involve Jason even more as well. This, not easy, though. These slippery rails, of course, the 2 ball was a formality, but every millimeter you hit that 2 ball differently into that corner with your cue ball coming from the middle of the table. That cue ball reacts completely different. And this, he's got a shot on the 3 ball. I think he's able to avoid. He's going to have to elevate his cue, stun it into the top right corner to get a shot on the pink in the left side. Nice. Challenge 1 overcome.
Not though for Naoki Oi, who's just overcut a short-range 6 ball, given Wojciech Ševčík the chance to make it onto the hill at 9-5. Here he is, number 12.
Yeah, and that Wojciech, though, on that 7 ball, that's more of a cut than he would have wanted. So we can see identical, almost identical, or no, well, at least 7, 8, 9 situations on both tables. Jason with a chance to get it back to 7-6. Wojciech with a mean cut on the 7, has to control his cue ball. Zip, zap, cue ball, 4 rails. Well, that works a treat.
Wang. won that one 10-8 from a slow start also.
One ball down. Cue ball traveled down south a little bit too far. And we'll see Jason most likely push out. Watch the cue ball. Yeah, got kicked. Well, he kicked it into the undercarriage of the 9 ball, and that meant it traveled to our side of the table. Yeah, what can you do here? He could jump it, hit the lower half of the 2 ball and draw the cue ball behind the 3 ball, purple ball, try to jump the cue ball, leave it at the top side of the table. Push out. Yeah, a few push out options. 6 might not pass the 8 ball. That might be something to play for later, because the 5 ball's down here, remember, so.
On table 2, we thought that Wojciech Szewczyk might be in. He's just knocked in a really nice 2 ball, came off 3 cushions for shape on the 3. But guess what? The cue ball very rudely is stopped in behind the 8. So there's life in that match yet.
Yeah, and Jason actually calling his extension. So after the break, there's a minute of thinking time allowed. Normally there's a 30-second shot clock, and then the players can ask for a 30-second extension. So Jason using that full minute and his extension of another 30 seconds to come up with this push out. And yeah, it's not too bad, but I think David, if anything, what could he do? Let me think about this. Could bank the 2 ball back to where the cue ball is now and drift this cue ball to find cover behind red or pink, or both. Could cut the 2 ball to try to come towards us, and the cue ball to the top half of the table. Hard to find cover though. Could bank it, bottom right. Okay, so that was by design, that 2 rail kind of safety. Maybe, yeah, would have loved to have covered maybe behind the red ball, but in any case, a containing safety. Such an important moment. 8-6 for David ALCAIDE if he gets control and clears up, or a tied 7-all ball game. Looks good. This looks better.
Yeah, those 3 balls provided quite a big target to hide behind, but it still had to be executed, and Shaw has done really well.
Yeah, and really exposed the 2 ball, right? And no matter how good the safety was, the jump shot almost ensures David is going to hit this 2 ball. Look how he makes his cue ball jump even at such a short distance from the 5 ball. In our split screen on the right side though, Naoki Oi with a 7-8 doable challenge, and then back to the 9 to get it back to 6-9 behind. Okay, ALCAIDE first maybe. Who's going to hit the ball first? Is ALCAIDE going to make the 5? No. Nor he's going to give up the 2 ball. Has he given Jason a 2-5 carom? So hit the right side of the blue and make the cue ball pot the purple 5. Don't know what Jason's looking at. Doesn't seem too chuffed. Yep. Hey. I thought he was going to have position on 2. I think he had it for a while and then found himself snookered behind the 7.
We've just seen Naoki Oi pull back to only 9-6 adrift. The story of that rack, Szewczyk unlucky to snooker himself on the 3. He left ball in hand and Oi did the rest.
Nice, so could see enough of that 2-ball. Beautifully cut into the corner, clean pot as well, that bodes well. So the eagle eye is seeing clearer and clearer, and that's a worrying sign for David ALCAIDE. Because as we've seen before, Jason started off slow, right, numerous times in these matches, but his finishes, obviously, because he's still in the tournament, he came out victorious all of these times before, but his finishes have been strong.
Well, you don't do what he's done in the Mosconi Cup without having bottle aplenty. What he's done as an individual, let's not forget that he's been the US Open champion. He's won the International Challenge of Champions, good tournament to win, the Hanoi Open. Plenty of others as well. At various times he's been the AZ Billiards Player of the Year, the Billiards Digest Player of the Year.
Now watch for a little bit of a crowd reaction here. They will love to be seeing Jason tying up this game. 7 apiece. Remember, Jason, the sole British hopeful of a UK Open Championships that has never been won by a player from the UK.
Jay started out as a best of 19 rack match. He's now down to best of 5. A race to 3 from here.
Again, what they attempt to make the 1-ball, that's going very well this match for both players. But that 2-ball never really looked like it was going to end up in a place where we could have seen Jason run out already. So now cue ball behind the 8-ball. Don't hit the 8-ball. Oh. Now Jason thought that was an impossibility. I think we might see the replay on that to see where the 2-ball was originally. If there was, yeah, see, there was a way. And it's not like the table rolled off or anything. He just hit it too thick.
He missed that black 8-ball by a coat of paint. Misjudgment, and it could be an expensive one.
Yeah, and they're clearly showing his frustration. In an interview yesterday, Jason mentioned recently broke his hand, hasn't quite healed yet, and was kind of like, yeah, I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. I'm not really expecting much, haven't really been practicing. But there you see it, right? I mean, if you are in a match situation, being the competitor that Jason is, and see yourself have an opportunity to finally perhaps take the lead or create an opportunity to run out to go 8-7 in front, and then if you see your cue ball scratch like that.
Now, could Wojciech Szewczyk be on the victory lap? Because Naoki Oi, again, jumping up on a shot, has undercut a 5-ball. Szewczyk can see it to pot it. 5 pots required for progress for the pole.
So nice that we're, oh, but he's jumping this one. We thought he was in line right on that 5-ball.
Thought he could see it, especially from Oi's reaction.
Oh, Oi back alive, or still alive. And this, an open opportunity for Oi to get back to 7-9 behind. And if Wojciech keeps missing these opportunities, he may not get any other ones. On the left side of the table, 7-all ball game, as we all know, of course. ALCAIDE with a perfect position, and also that 7-8 shouldn't be too hard to deal with, especially with the 6-ball kind of forming ideal position for that 7-8 combination. So we'll see very little cue movement here, cue ball movement here. And we can tell you that Naoki Oi is on the 7 ball straight in with an 8 ball looming over the bottom right corner pocket, so should be able to finish this off and get back to only being 7-9 behind. So yeah, ALCAIDE just has to be careful here, because he may have to hit this black ball slightly on the left side, and his cue ball might, or 7 ball might drift towards the top short rail. That's what he wants to avoid. Wants to keep it nice and over the pocket. See, just like that. Yikes! And this is not a cut he should be going for, I think. So we might be actually seeing David play safe, cutting the right side of the 7, trying to leave that there and bringing it. Oh, he is going for the cut. Wow, it's such, look at that, how long that forehand is. Yes, and that was, I mean, that was played in anger a little bit, I believe. No matter, Jason didn't expect this opportunity, and this testing 7 ball has to be played with a lot of bottom left spin to spin it around the corner to get position on the 9.
For ALCAIDE, a vital 6 and 2 vital 7 balls have now gone astray.
Nice. Although you would have thought, had he made the 7, he would be a bit straighter on the 9 than he is now. ALCAIDE still has hopes in this rack. Faint, but extinguished. Okay, cue ball to 2 ball. What do we have? What do we get? What will we end up with? Not really an attacking option. Could bank the 2.
So it's the last dying embers of multi-table action. This week, 256 players came. We had 26 tables in operation. Now, though, just a few more racks on 2 tables simultaneously, and then tomorrow it will be just 1, the centre of everyone's attention.
A nice kick shot by David. All by design. Might even get the snooker here. Will get the snooker here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not that Jason made a mistake, right? But that safety, I don't know, you know. Want to leave your cue ball a bit more tied up. Back to your previous comment, Phil. Dying embers. Beautiful, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dying embers, it's...
Embers or ambers?
Embers.
Okay.
Embers, in the fire, yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Thank you. Thanks for, I mean, I'm learning here, learning on the job here. You're my oracle of facts, figures, and fancy descriptions, so thanks.
Always remember this, your English is far better than my Dutch, which is non-existent.
That is true. All right. Now, look at that pink 4 ball, at which David is instantly looking as well. So 2-3. Pretty much a formality with ball in hand, but then has to have a nice position on the 3 ball so he can maneuver his cue ball. What looks like his plan A would be to the left side of the table so he can play the 4-8 combination. Wants to be pretty much straight in on that 4-8 combination. Anyway, that's in 2 shots time. That is too straight, you know. Nice for the 3 ball.
History repeating itself on the other table. Naoki Oi has just launched himself at a 5-ball. The movement was excessive. Of course it went astray. And now again, Wojciech Szewczyk could be in to win. We've said that before.
I think we should just give some kind of give Naoki Oi like an electric shock whenever he moves too much or something. I think that will teach him, because that isn't that his, I mean, his one downfall?
Well, it certainly appears that way this evening.
And this is beautiful by ALCAIDE. This is purely by design. That spin on that cue ball, I mean, it was too straight on the 3, but this was the movement he could muster. And now with a 4-9 combination to tie us up at 8. Drawing his cue ball back for maybe potential safety. It's all not coming easy for either player. Making the 1 ball, doing that very well, then at the mercy of wherever that blue 2 ball is rolling to. And this not offering much, so David already looking at the push out. Push out, most often you'd like to often look at the furthest distance you can manage, so maybe the top rail where David is standing now somewhere, and leave the cue ball on the rail, so to take away any backspin options. You could try to create a cluster to kind of stall the game for later. Now David, is he? Yes, he's trying to lock up the 3-8. That won't happen, and that double kiss will mean he will stay at the table. JAYSON having none of this one.
Talk about competitive quarterfinals this evening. We've had 3 completed matches in this round. 2 10-7s, a 10-8, and at the very least this is going to be 10-8. So every one of the quarterfinals been a thriller.
Yeah, and to, you know, with a push out, which, you know, he wasn't good. The cluster didn't work out eventually anyway, so he could have rolled his cue ball there or thereabouts without hitting the 3, and then he would have never been in this predicament. I mean, at 8-all in a quarterfinal. Anyway, could still hit this 2 ball and get away with it. Hit it, he did, and that cue ball, it's got just too much spin, and David ALCAIDE hitting his fist into this very hard diamond table rail.
Only one winner there, the table undefeated.
Yes. Didn't Ronnie O'Sullivan also hit the table very hard at this last World Snooker Championship?
Oh yeah, loads of snooker players have done it. Michael Holt, who's a really good friend of mine, many, many years ago now, whacked his knuckle into the table and broke it.
Oh, broke it. Oh, wow.
Not the table, his knuckle.
To be honest, I've done it as well.
Well, he'll never have a better chance to get to the hill. Not with his potting prowess.
Yeah, has to be careful with the 6 to the 7 position. That requires a bit of cue ball travel quality. Yeah, could basically land straight in on the 6 and draw his cue ball straight back. You know, as soon as he makes the 6, as soon as he draws the cue ball back, well, as soon as he's drawn it back about 10 centimeters, he will have some kind of shot. And then for the foreseeable revolutions, we'll still have a shot, and it can only get better, really. Though there's too much angle. Can he hold this cue ball, draw it back to the left side of the 9 ball, or does he have to cross over? If he has to cross over, this increases the quality required again, unnecessarily so. Yeah, crossover required, and this thinner than he wanted to be. The only good thing is that will make his cue ball easily maneuverable to the top end of the table for position on the 8. Yeah, looking, took out his extension, tossed it back on his seat because things has seen that he doesn't need it.
Really well played from Jason Shaw, because he applied side to that as well as knocking in a tricky one. And look at the shape on the 8, could not be any better.
He's a bit of a hit that 8 ball a little bit too thick, or as ALCAIDE did earlier, just didn't hit that cue ball high enough, so the topspin didn't really take. This a challenging 9 to take a 9-8 lead. One ball down. So important for Jason to see where that 2 ball goes, and that goes into a theoretically potable cut. Yeah, he's going to take this. He's going to take this on. So naturally the cue ball will come straight over that white bulk line that you see drawn there besides the break box. But Jason, and therefore the cue ball might make contact with the 6, would love to not play this 2 ball with any left or right spin on his cue ball, because that will increase the difficulty of the making the 2 ball, but also would rather not hit the 6. Can handle quite a few positions with the cue ball on the table, and will still have a shot on the 3 though. Made the 2, and that'll do. Now 4, 5. The 4 goes top left. I think he's going to stun his cue ball, yeah, basically to where the name of David ALCAIDE is in our scoreboard, to have a good shot on the 4 top left. And that could be all she wrote. So this could be the shot of the rack. Ooh, I don't know. Almost makes me think he tried to play position for the 4-5 combination. Either way, is he going to bank this, or is he going to duck and play safe? I think he's going to bank it, you know. Victory in sight if he makes this one, but this an off-angle bank. You really have to hit this pretty particular. Oh, delicate, soft hands, Jason. Beautiful shot there.
Wasn't it just the great shot maker coming good, doing fine things under the most acute pressure?
Yeah, exactly right. But then, you know, that moment of risk, there was risk involved, there was skill required, pressure there, and then he wakes up, right? Oh, this cue ball is just fine. Now it's Jason on the way to the semi-final. Well, we've seen both players miss shots that we wouldn't expect them to miss. So let's just hold predictions if Jason's home and dry.
Almost there. ALCAIDE has regrets. The 2 missed 7 balls were hurtful. The missed 6 ball, even more so. There were so many times during that match when Jason did not look like a sure thing, but in the end,